I'm going to ask you a few questions in Spanish. Hi to you.
Okay.
Then that's it.
Well, I want to speak Spanish, but I don't speak Spanish.
Okay, let's try it.
What are you going to ask me in Spanish?
Look at your face.
I'm like,
Okay,
I know uno. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. I know that much. You are doing this on purpose. This is not fair. I don't know. I've got to get my Google Translate.
Restaurante.
You're doing a restaurante. Favorite restaurant?
Sí, restaurante.
This is Anthony. I'm the middle child. I play football. Everyone in my family does.
For you.
I've been listening to your talks forever.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know why your mom punishes.
That's totally a Hank thing to say right there.
Like I can see myself riding a camel with the Colombian hat.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, your talks have been a big part of my childhood. You know?
Oh, you're so nice.
That's kind of cool.
I feel bad. I feel like your mom has tortured you with these talks.
It's pretty dope. I always, like John, by the way, is definitely a close second, but they always, anytime my parents would try to put on a talk, I just go, hey, put on Hank Smith. So,
I'm going to tell John you said that.
Yeah, you need to go brag to him, man. Like,
sorry, man. Yeah, you took a second place, brother.
Yeah, no.
Deporte favorito.
Deporte.
Como es fútbol, es basketball.
Sport. Utah Jazz basketball.
Jazz suck, dude. Jazz suck.
I know.
Gotta be a Rockets fan.
Oh, Lucas, I loved you. Don't do that to me.
Hey, James Harden, man.
James Harden. Oh.
James Harden.
I can handle James Harden. Westbrook, I don't know.
Yeah, don't worry. I don't like him. No, I like Russell.
Okay, but you talked about happiness and depression.
Oh, goodness. There is so much to say. In the Bible, there's a short little phrase that I like to remember called be of good cheer.
Dr. Hank Smith grew up surrounded by red cliffs in St. George, Utah. He earned a master's degree from Utah State University, an MBA, and a PhD from BYU on educational leadership, where he now works as an assistant professor. In addition to his work in consulting companies and school districts, Dr. Hank speaks for the school assemblies around the country. Dr. Hank also authored many books and talks on CDs and digital media with Covenant Communication. Dr. Hank and his wife, Sarah, currently live in Mapletown, Utah, where they love to hike and camp. Dr. Hank says, and I quote, "Sarah is a miracle. She knows everything about me and still loves me." They have 5 incredibly adorable children who got their looks from their mother. Hank enjoys the Utah Jazz. No, he really enjoys the Utah Jazz. So, Hank, tell us about what you're doing now at BYU.
Wonderful. Yeah. So I teach, my PhD is in educational leadership. So when I go out and talk to school districts, we mostly talk about education, high trust relationships in schools and things like that. But at BYU, I mostly teach in the religion department right now. So I teach the history of the Bible and I teach Bible classes.
Wonderful. What is your favorite place and your favorite thing to do in Utah?
Oh, Utah. Utah is known for mountains and hikes. So we do a lot of hiking in Utah. We just got back from central Utah. We have, I think we have somewhere around 10 national parks in Utah. And so our favorite thing is just to go out, find a camping spot and sit there for a couple of days and enjoy the beauty of it.
What places outside the U.S. have you visited?
Oh, goodness. Let's see. I often speak on cruises. So I've spoken on cruises down through the Caribbean and down to Central America. And I take groups to Israel a couple of times a year.
Any favorite memories?
Oh, goodness. There's nothing like teaching in Israel. That is so much fun to go teach, in some of these sacred, holy, very historic sites. But I do love riding camels in Jordan. So if you can you come with me, Catherine, and we'll ride camels in Wadi Rum or in Petra. It's really fun.
That sounds really cool. Look, I also have my Colombian hat.
Hey.
I could use, like, I can see myself riding a camel with the Colombian hat. And
That would be perfect. You'd fit right in.
I blend all two cultures right there. So you have a PhD in educational leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you choose that field?
Oh, I was so excited about this. So I'd always been interested in education and relationships. And if the quality of the relationships in the school between teachers and other teachers, between the teachers and the principal, between teachers and parents, what kind of effect those relationships had on student achievement. So that was really the center of why I went back to school and what I decided to study. So my dissertation, the big final product of a doctorate degree, was centered on high trust relationships between teachers and their effect on student achievement. It was really fun. I really enjoyed the project, and I really enjoyed the results, and it's been fun to try to help districts and schools apply what I found, some of the research I found.
So you often speak in school assemblies. Tell us about that. Tell us about the topics you talk about in those interactions with the students.
Oh, wonderful. I love to go speak at schools. So yeah, I've probably spoken to about 500 or 600 elementary schools. And I mostly do two topics. One will do anti-bullying. So one assembly that I do is just based on being kind to each other and helping each other and being an upstander in the school. And it is so fun to see those cute little faces, especially those younger grades, just looking up at me. I also will do kind of an internet safety, technology safety assembly with the littler. With the elementary school age kids. With middle schools and high schools, I can do those same topics. You do them a little differently. As you know, you're going to treat your middle school and high school students differently than you treat elementary school students. What makes elementary students laugh is not the same as what makes high school students laugh. But we can also do things like I can speak on goals. I can speak on college prep. So I just enjoy being in front of them. I enjoy the idea that you can inspire a high school student or a middle school student to reach out for greater accomplishments in life, and help them see that they don't have to put a ceiling on where they can go and what they can do in life. That if they want to be a doctor, they can be a doctor. If they want to be a lawyer, they can be a lawyer. If they want to, be in charge of the government, that they can be that. They don't have to put a ceiling because of their gender or their race or their, the family they come from, that they can take those ceilings off and the sky's the limit. That's a really fun thing to see, that eye-opening moment for them.
Yesterday, you tweeted, spend time with people who valued you, people who see the good in you, those who uplift you and instill in you a desire to be better. Be that kind of friend in return. What motivated you to tweet that?
No, I love Twitter. To me is something I can just be thinking about and then just say, hey, I'm going to throw this out there. And sometimes they fall flat and sometimes they really just take off. It resounds with them. I think for me, it's the idea that as I watch the students that I work with, if they would realize that they become the people they spend time with, right? So if you spend time with people who don't value you, who don't see you as someone who can do great things, you eventually, if you spend all your time with them, you're going to believe those things about yourself. So my hope is that someone might read that and look at their peer group, look around them and say, I need to spend time with people who believe in me. I need to spend time with people who see me as someone who can do great things. And if the people that you spend time with don't see that in you, you don't have to believe that. You can say, you know what, I am going to change my peer group. That doesn't mean we kick people out of our lives, right? It doesn't mean that, oh, you're not happy enough, I don't want to spend time with you. That's not what it's about. It's more about saying, we need to make sure we're spending valuable, quality time with people who believe in who we are and what we can do, because that will influence how we see ourselves.
I love that. So tell us about the books and the audio CDs that you have published.
Oh, sure. I'd love to. So I do a lot of talks on CD. Now, if you talk to younger people, they don't know what CDs are. So we have to move them to, MP3s and things. But those of us who were born way back in the 1900s, we remember what CDs are. And our cars still have CD players, right? So I like to just speak to teenagers on these talks, and families, teenagers and families, and hopefully uplift them. I do quite a bit of comedy on them. It's about half comedy and half kind of a spiritual message. I sometimes will use the Bible and use stories from the Bible to teach. And my hope is that a family can be driving in a car and going on a road trip or something, and they've got the talk in the and they're listening and laughing and hopefully learning something and feeling inspired to do great things. The books are a little more centered towards adults. I wrote a book on happiness that just took the science of happiness and some of what religion teaches about happiness and tried to combine those together, and also talk about depression and mental illness in that book. And then the most recent book I completed was about a year ago. It was a book on the parables of Jesus, looking at the Bible and looking at the individual parables and seeing how we can find messages in those parables that will actually apply to, 2020 and the everyday problems we deal with within our families and jobs and things. So they've been a lot of big projects, but they've been fun. I've really enjoyed them.
Now, sense of humor. You mentioned that your CDs have 50% humorous and the other, I guess, serious. And I have listened to many of your audios.
Oh,
thanks. And my boys, I have three boys, and they've grown up listening to them as well, and they've laughed a lot from your sense of humor. Tell us, where do you get your sense of humor from?
Oh, that's so funny. You know what? I don't think I'm very funny, but when I love it to hear teenagers laugh. I think part of it for me, part of my motivation, is that so much today is funny, but it's also it's crude, or it's making fun of people, right? And I wanted to be an example that you can be funny and you can be kind. So that's part of why I do what I do. Is hey. You don't have to make fun of people, and you don't have to be crude in order to be funny. I don't know. I don't know how I got a sense of humor. I taught high school students for a decade, and that can do it to you. I bet you know that you have to be able to laugh, or you're just going to cry. So I would find the funny parts about life. I try to observe the funny things we do in life, the funny things we get serious about. I try to observe the funny things in the Bible and point those out to people, because there is quite a bit of humor there. And I think, I don't know, one of my heroes, his name was Gordon Hinckley. You probably know who that is. He used to say that a sense of humor is like the shocks on a car. As you hit the bumps in the car, the shocks kind of take the jolt out of it, right? And I don't know, a sense of humor is kind of like that. It can take the jolt out of the difficulties in life. So I just think it can help soften the more difficult things we go through. But I don't know. I think my wife's funnier than I am. I steal a lot of my jokes from her. So maybe that's where I get it all, is just, and watching my own kids. My own kids are pretty funny. And so I'll quote them quite a bit, and they make me laugh. And so I hope some of those stories make other people laugh as well. You
said that in your last book, you talked about happiness and depression. And what can you tell us about those two?
Oh, goodness. There is so much to say. I will say this. when I was in high school back in the 1900s, you don't look old enough to have 3 kids, but I was in high school in the 1900s. And, depression was not something we talked about. It was there, and I think, it was maybe mentioned here and there, but it wasn't really something that was on our, right in front of us all the time. The ratio of students in high school in the 1990s that had a form of mental illness was about 1 out of 20 or 1 out of 25, 4 or 5% of students had some form of mental illness. And in 2020, it's 1 out of 3. So things have changed dramatically in 25 years. What's causing it? Nobody knows, right? There's all sorts of theories. People are researching it to find out exactly what's happening. So we don't really know why it's happening, but we do know it is happening, right? And so it's becoming a more and more prominent issue. And to me, talking about it is half the battle. Just getting parents and teenagers to talk about it, to listen to each other, and to try to understand what's happening in the mind of someone who is suffering with depression or anxiety. So part of that book, one whole chapter of that book, was meant to describe to someone who's never experienced it what it is like from the perspective of those who have experienced those things. And it's turned out really well. People will say, hey, I handed that book to my parents and I said, read that chapter because that's exactly how I'm feeling right now. And hopefully that opens up to more of a discussion on, okay, how are we going to get you the help that you need? Because what worked for me is not going to work for them, right? In 1995, if I said I was depressed, my dad would probably say, well, you watch too much TV, right? You got to stop watching Saved by the Bell. And so I would be, I'd be sent outside to do some work. And that probably worked for me back then in the mid 90s. But that's not going to work today. It's a completely different thing today. So, if one of your sons comes to you and says, I'm depressed, and you say what your parents said to you, it's probably not going to work. It's an entirely different game. It's an entirely different, field right now. So my hope with the book, and my hope in general, is to open up a discussion where a teenager can go to their parents, talk about this, and hopefully get them to somebody who can help them. Part of my hope in writing the book and talking about happiness and depression so much is to, and I think we've done a good job in the last 5 years of breaking the stigma that there's something wrong with seeing a doctor about this, or there's something wrong with seeing a therapist about these things. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Happy people have therapists, right? If they have the coverage and can afford it, I've encouraged people to go and talk through these things with a doctor, with a therapist, and especially as a family. Be able to have this open discussion. I'm sure you understand this, Catherine, is just the idea of having an open family culture where we can talk about things is crucial to a teenager's success in life. That they can come to you and say, Mom, I'm struggling, right? And that they feel safe enough to do that, and that you feel secure enough as a parent that you don't get defensive. What do you mean you're struggling? That means I'm a bad mom. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean you're a bad mom. Struggling is part of being human. If we can open up that discussion, I think we've won half the battle right there.
So how important is to you a relationship to a divine power?
That's a fantastic question. When I go to schools, obviously we don't discuss religion. And I don't discuss specific beliefs or anything like that. However, when I do my personal work, when I'm doing one-on-one work, or when I'm having a conversation like this, where I'm just talking to a friend, and I think it's totally fine to bring these things up. And most people I know who don't even believe in God per se, still believe in this idea of connecting to nature, or being spiritual in a way, right? Kind of tapping into your inner self. So I think there's some common ground there for everyone. And again, you don't do these things in schools. And it would be totally inappropriate for me to come out and teach a specific religion or a specific spirituality in schools. But meditation has been shown across the board in the research to really affect people's happiness, to really affect the way they feel about life. And meditation does not have to be religious. It definitely can be religious, but it doesn't have to be. So that's one thing that I try to give to other people, is this idea of even if you're not, even if you're not devoted to a particular tenet or particular faith or a particular creed, you can still meditate. You can still have this connection to yourself, right, and to the world around you. But to me, specifically to me, a relationship with the divine is something for me that's given me a sense of purpose, a sense of hope, right? That what we're doing makes a difference. Because it's difficult when you look at the statistics for teenagers and youth. It's easy to get overwhelmed. It's easy to go, holy cow, how are we going to ever win this fight, right? But when you connect with a higher power, there's a sense of purpose there, that what we're doing does matter, and that we can win this fight. So it reminds me of Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, which I think should be required reading for everybody ever born. And he said it's not the suffering that was so difficult for him in the concentration camps. He said it was the suffering without purpose. If we can help young people, and really anyone, develop a sense of purpose in their lives, their suffering becomes more manageable, something that they can learn from, something that they can help others learn from. And that's what he did. He turned his suffering into suffering with purpose, and it changed his entire outlook. It had changed his entire experience with such profound suffering. So for me personally, that's what a relationship with the divine does. It takes our difficulties and trials and gives them great purpose. Hey, who is this?
This is Anthony. I'm the middle child. I play football. Everyone in my family does. So.
That's beautiful. I don't even know where you guys live. Where do you guys live?
Missouri. So we live near St. Louis.
Oh my goodness. It's not hot at all, is it? Yeah.
It's so hot.
So humid. For you.
I've been listening to your talks forever.
I'm so sorry. I don't know why your mom punishes.
That's totally a Hank thing to say right there.
Well, I'm sorry. I just feel so bad.
No, it's okay. I knew you would say that. That's just a classic Hank move right there.
Yeah. If someone's like, I listen to your talks every day, I'm like, oh, who's punishing you? Who's torturing you?
Not every day, but
yeah, that's so funny.
We listen to them to the car, to church a ton, and so I get to hear you talk about your dog name.
Yeah, yep, that's my name. I've learned to live with it. I'm okay now. Tell me about your brothers. One, how old are they? You're middle. So.
Yep. I have an older brother who just turned 19. His birthday's right near mine. And then I have a younger sibling. I think he's 15.
He's 15.
He's 15. He's a year and a half younger than me.
Which one's the most difficult child of the three?
The younger one.
The younger one. All right. What position you play football?
I play D-end. So I'm probably one of the smaller D-ends, but
I doubt it. You got big shoulders. Yeah, that's fantastic. I actually played D-end as well. So what's the plan with after high school? Do you know?
I'm trying to go into college. Okay. BYU mission, my bad. I'm going on a mission first.
Did you get that whispered? Did someone whisper that to you?
Yeah, my mom whispered that. Obviously, I'm going on a mission. Usually when someone asks me a question.
BYU in Provo?
My first choice would be BYU for sure.
That's where I teach.
Yep. I'm trying to go into cybersecurity, and it'd be nice going into BYU and getting some religious classes. I think those would be so cool. I'm really into like stuff like that, in-depth theology.
Cool. That's the benefit of BYU, right? Is they offer that.
And you get to be taught deep doctrine. I love that.
Right. Yeah. We're not very superficial. You can really, and it depends on what subject you want, but you can really get deep into a lot of these things. Thinking of like not getting hacked, like helping people not get hacked.
Helping big companies usually.
Yeah.
With their networking and protecting their network. Stuff like that.
Anthony, it was so good to meet you.
Yeah, it was good to meet you too. It's crazy to see the face.
Yeah. You know? Sorry. Sorry, yeah.
I hear the voice all the time.
Some people look at me and they're like, I thought you'd be taller. And I'm like, yeah, me too. Me too.
Hey, what's up?
Mateo, hello.
Hello. Hi, yeah. Your talks have been a big part of my childhood, you know.
Oh, you're so nice.
That's kind of cool.
I feel bad. I feel like your mom has tortured you with these talks.
No, they're pretty dope. I'd always, like, John, by the way, is definitely a close second, but anytime my parents would try to put on a talk, it's, hey, put on Hank Smith. So
beautiful. Yeah, I'm going to tell John you said that.
Yeah, you need to go brag to him, man. Like,
sorry, man. Yeah, you took a second place, brother.
Yeah, no, I definitely, Break Up with the World is definitely my favorite.
Hey, I liked how that one turned out. I remember that one.
Yeah,
people will come up and quote talks to me like I gave it yesterday, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, because I don't listen to them. I don't listen to them, and so people will quote it, and I'm like, is that me? And yeah, that was you. I'm like, oh, okay, that was good. What are you interested in?
I am a musician.
Beautiful.
That is what I'm trying to establish myself as. I'm trying to be a performance artist. Right now, I am with a band called Brave New World, and we are trying to kind of move on that. And we already released one single. We're trying to release our second single, and we're currently working on an album. So
that's fantastic.
I know, I'm pretty hyped about it. It's rock and roll type music. So
that's awesome. So what are you vocals? Or are you guitar?
Yeah, I am lead vocalist. Right. I'll be learning more instruments. I have a background in piano from when I was younger. I'm taking private classes through the same community college for piano and guitar. So I'm really excited about that. And I also got private classes for vocals to improve my vocals. So I'm really excited about that.
You start somewhere, right? I mean, you want to start. You want people to listen to your music. It's the same thing with being a speaker. I never started out thinking, oh, I'm going to get paid, money to speak. That was never the intention. I just liked it. Right. So I just did it because I liked it. I didn't care who it was. Right. I didn't care if it was the Cub Scouts or if it was the Relief Society or if it was some company, some group of dentists. Like, I didn't care who it was. I just like speaking and I like teaching.
You like to talk. You talk. Right?
Yeah. And so I think musicians have to be the same way. When you're getting started, you don't care. You're just happy someone wants to listen. Right. You're, hey, sure. We'll play for that wedding. We'll play for a bar mitzvah. Right. Sure.
Yeah. We're playing for any type of shows right now, man. Any show that's available.
Yeah. Right? You play a county fair and sometimes you play weird places. When I was just starting out as a speaker, I spoke some weird places, but it adds to my experience.
What's the weirdest place?
Well, like I remember speaking in some guy's kitchen. I was like standing in the kitchen and he had a bunch of people in his living room and I'm like, I feel like I'm at a cooking show.
Yeah.
I remember speaking at a picnic table with a bunch of scouts who just got off a river. And he's like, do you want to speak to my scouts? I'm like, sure, whatever. I still do weird things sometimes. It's like, a couple of months ago, I spoke for a drive-in graduation. Like, it was just a bunch of cars I was talking to.
Yeah, that's
everybody was in their cars.
Yeah, for sure.
So you take it, right? You take it because it just adds to your experience.
Honestly, that's the thing. If I could be on stage all the time, I would. I love performing. It's the most fun thing in the world, in my opinion. It's just all my friends think I'm crazy, just being on the center stage, everyone looking at me, and, but I'm a little bit of attention hog. It's all good, but
hey, no, it's a gift. It's a gift. You look at anybody who's uber successful, and they were doing it long before they got paid. Bill Gates was programming computers long before he got paid. He just loved it. Right. The Beatles were playing music wherever they could, whoever listened, right? Garage band stuff.
Yeah.
They were playing in bars. They were playing wherever.
Yeah, that was same with Queen. Queen was that way too.
Then all of a sudden the opportunity came and they had all those hours, racked up that they were good.
Yeah. I think there was a book that I read that one of the rules they had was they call it the 10,000 hour rule. Is
Right.
that once you invest 10,000 hours into any skill, then
You're one of the best.
You become a professional, one of the best in that group. It was nice meeting you.
You too, man. Thanks for
pleasure.
chatting.
Yeah, man. And just keep doing what you're doing, man. I'll always be listening. I'll always be listening.
I will remember that, because sometimes I'm like, man, do I want to do more of these? But then I'll remember.
Nah, man. I'll listen to everyone you come out with.
There
I
you
got you.
Okay. All right, my friend. I'm good. I love your hair. I'm going to have that hair in the resurrection.
Oh, yeah?
When the Lord's like, what do you want for hair? I'll be like, where's Lucas? Find Lucas.
That's crazy seeing your face.
That's what I want.
It's crazy seeing your face, because I've been listening to your talk since I was a little kid.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad your mom's tortured you guys like that.
Nah, man, that's what got me through my whole, I'd say, elementary, and middle school, around there. So.
Oh, you're such. Yeah, I like you. I like this. I like him. I like him. Everybody, I like him. So you got two older brothers who probably try to direct your life in every way.
Yeah.
They tell you what to do. They give you advice constantly, and you're like, "Thank you so much." That's really helpful.
Yeah.
And you got probably bigger arms than them. I can't quite tell.
I mean,
yeah, maybe. So maybe that's why they're like giving you advice, because they're like, hey, don't. They want to maintain dominance.
I mean, maybe
The alpha. What I talk to you about. What's your thing? Is it sports? Is it?
Yeah, I'm an athlete. Football and basketball. So
Football and basketball.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Which one's got your heart though?
Oh, football all the way.
Football all the way.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Is it more defense, more offense?
I'm an offensive player. I'm a running back. So.
Oh, beautiful. So what else is there to Lucas?
I really want to do for college and study. I want to study psychology, that. I don't know. I've really been interested in studying people, talking to people.
Okay.
Definitely to help other people.
So anxiety, depression, any sickness. Oh yeah. That's so crucial. I was just talking to your mom about that, when I was in high school, it was barely even talked about. Now it's, 1 out of 3 kids has some form of mental illness, and therapists are booked solid. Like every therapist there is has full appointments, and some of them aren't even good. Right.
Yeah.
But everybody's trying to get in to see somebody to get some help. So, and you've got the right personality for it, where you could take some, tough 15-year-old, tough 16-year-old who's like, has all these walls up, right? Has all these walls up. Like, I'm fine. And then say, okay, let's actually talk. You could help kids who are struggling so much they got into drugs, or they got into crime, and now they've got to go to a rehab facility. You could be one of those. You could run.
That'd be sick. I mean, that's just kind of like I said. That's what I want to do. I just really want to help teenagers and younger kids, because my whole life, even I was just looking back. My whole life I've struggled with anxiety. Even when I was a tiny little kid. I didn't even know myself. So it took a long time, and I didn't have anyone to help me, because I didn't know. So and that was a big try. I mean, for the whole gospel and church wise, that was my thing with God. I was like, why am I feeling like this? Why don't you love me? Then why aren't you helping me? And that was a big trial for me, for staying in the church and staying should I do this? Luckily, EFY was a big experience for me to help me, and also really praying and pondering. And I've really gotten stronger, especially within the church this past year or two, I'd say. Anyways, I'm saying, I don't want any other kid to feel like that. And if you can help that earlier, I feel like that can really change a kid's life.
Oh, that's huge. It's absolutely huge, especially that someone gets it. Right. So if you're 12 years old, you're really struggling, you don't know why, you haven't really shared it with your parents, and then someone like you comes along and starts talking about the experience, and they're like, yes, that's how I feel. Yes, that's how I feel. Like, it's got a name, right? Because for the longest time, some kids they just think they're weird.
Yeah.
Right. They just think they're broken.
No. All right, man. It was nice talking to you, man.
Yeah, you too, man. Well, I want to speak Spanish, but I don't speak Spanish.
Okay, let's try it. Let's try it. Let's try it.
What are you going to ask me in Spanish?
Look at your face.
I'm like,
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a few questions in Spanish.
okay. I know uno. I know uno. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. I know that much.
Okay, Hank Smith. Okay, there we go. ¿Cuál es tu restaurante favorito?
You are doing this on purpose. This is not fair. I don't know. I've got to get my Google Translate.
Restaurante favorito. Restaurante.
You are doing restaurante. Favorite restaurant.
Sí, restaurante.
Favorite
favorito.
restaurant.
Sí.
Joe Banditos.
Joe Bandidos. ¿Tu deporte favorito? Deporte favorito.
Favorite deporte.
Deporte.
Deporte. Deporte. Deporte.
Como es fútbol, es básquetbol.
Sports.
Sí, ¿cuál es tu deporte favorito?
Utah Jazz. Utah Jazz basketball.
Ok, básquetbol. Como Lucas le gusta básquetbol.
Hey, bro, you talk. Hey, the Jazz suck, dude. Jazz suck.
I know.
Gotta be a Rockets fan.
No, oh,
Yeah.
Lucas, I loved you. Lucas, I loved you. Don't do that to me.
Hey, James Harden, man.
James Harden. Oh.
James Harden.
I can handle James Harden. Westbrook, I don't know if I
Yeah,
can.
don't worry. I don't like him. No, I like Russell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ok, go. Ok, tu color favorito. Color
No,
favorito.
color. I heard favorite color. Utah Jazz.
Color.
I know. Utah Jazz purple. Utah Jazz
Oh, ok, morado. Tu programa de televisión favorito.
purple. Favorite program on television?
Sí, tu
Yes! That was awesome. I understood Spanish. What do I watch lately? Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. Ok. Y la última. Tu red social favorita. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Oh, okay. Social media.
Tu red social.
It's probably Twitter.
Awesome.
Probably Twitter.
Okay, so that was good. See, you did.
Hey, I did it.
Yes, that was sick.
I
Okay.
want to learn Spanish really a lot. I want to learn Spanish. I have it's
Well,
on my
check out my channel and my playlist. I have Spanish mini lessons in 2 minutes.
Okay, I'll do it. I really will.
This is the last question. With all the turmoil that is happening in the world today, what message would you like my audience to hear?
A couple of things. One would be we often see ourselves as so small, as so insignificant. What can I do to make a difference, right? What I do will not make a difference. But what we need to realize is that everyone is just one person. There's nobody who is more than one person. So everyone who has made a difference in the world has been just one person. And those who make the biggest difference are not those who try to change the world, but those who try to change things around them, right? Their family, their neighborhood, their city, those who make a difference there, that seems to be the way to influence the entire world, right? Is when we're focusing on individuals one at a time, just trying to help them along. And then the other is that the world is, if you watch the news, you would think the world is the worst it's ever been. But I promise you, all of the world's problems have not been wrapped up into the last 5 months, right? Like the world has had serious problems before and has gotten through them. Our grandparents, our great-grandparents saw very dark times, but they kept on going. They kept on moving forward. They kept raising families. They kept going to church. They kept believing, and they made it through it. And we will as well, as long as we do what, we can gather strength from our grandparents and our great-grandparents and how they got through the difficult days of World War I and World War II. The world was in a very dark place, and it survived, and we will as well. And then lastly, I think is in the Bible, there's a short little phrase that I like to remember called "be of good cheer." And I try to wake up and remember that every day. Be of good cheer. And that I can choose today to have a happy attitude and to smile and to think about the good things that are on the planet, all the good things that are happening, because we do have a lot of bad things happening right now, but there's a lot of good things that are coming from it. And if we can choose to be of good cheer and focus on those things, our days are going to be happy. Happy days turn into happy weeks, happy months, happy years.
Thank you so much, Hank, for being with us. Ciao.
Ciao.